Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be talking about some evolutions that are definitely coming and some cards that you made as well that are pretty interesting. I haven't actually looked at them too much yet, but first we need to talk about what's going to be happening with evolutions coming up soon. It's actually really complicated. Um, the simple explanation is we're getting evolutions, however, we're actually getting two Sylveons. And we have seen the one Sylveon, Sylveon EX here with two attacks. Magical Charm is the first one. These were, I believe, revealed in Indonesia. Um, we saw them before, but they were very blurry. These are obviously that not very blurry, and so Sylveon EX here, 270 HP, first attack. And by the way, these are Terra. The Sylveon and Ceruledge are coming out like together. Terra, but they're their original types, and then they are also a stellar Pokemon. So they have one attack that's three energy types, but the first one here is going to be Magical Charm for Psychic Colors 160. And this Pokemon takes 100 less attacks. No, sorry. This Pokemon, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks used by the defending Pokemon. That's kind of weird. That's pretty niche if they gust or if they switch, and that's not going to work. But whatever, it's still solid. 160 for 3, it's okay. Not that good though. But then Angelite the attack, Water, Lightning, Psychic. It says choose two of your opponent's bench Pokemon, then shuffle this Pokemon all cards attached into their deck. There's a bit of a typo on PokeBeach here, but then it says if you use this attack, or if any of your Pokemon use this attack last turn, then it can't be used again this turn. So you can do it every other turn, but it's really disruptive. But also, you can't use it every turn, and of course, it's a lot of energy, or at least it's very awkward. But kind of interesting. But then we need to talk about this Eevee, and this Eevee is really, really cool. I think the translations are more or less accurate. This one seems a little weird, but you get the general gist. But then this Eevee is really cool. It has Reckless Charge, whatever. But then it has the ability Driven Evolution. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, then you can evolve it during your first turn, or on the turn it was put into play, which is really cool. We saw Energy Evolution Eevee. I think the ability was Energy Evolution. Um, and it was really, really solid. This is similar. You need it in the active, but you can evolve it immediately. And of course, the Eeveelutions are evolutions from Eevee, and there's a bunch of them, and they'll probably be interesting. But then it becomes a little more confusing. I don't believe it's linked here, but we will be getting all the Eeveelutions as, I believe, Terra Pokemon, which would be EXs, and they won't be stellar, including, I believe, another Sylveon EX. So I think we'll be getting two Sylveon EXs. But then I want to take a look at some viewer submitted cards that people sent in. And by the way, I am doing a contest for the Eeveelutions, and I haven't decided if there's going to be exactly what's going to happen with it, but I'm going to be picking a best one, or I'll have you vote. I'm not exactly sure. And there's some really cool ones. I talked about them in the past, and I'm going to talk about some ideas that I think we'll actually see in the TCG as well, because they're probably going to be Terra, and so they might type change, but we'll see how that would work, because they're very much associated with their type. So changing their types needs to be done very carefully. But I've seen some really interesting ideas just like quickly flipping through these cards. But yeah, let's just hop right into these cards. So, and by the way, they might have some like mistakes. This one actually looks pretty accurate. I just on a quick glance, no like immediate capitalization errors. Of course, no these aren't official cards or anything, but we got Vaporeon here. This is from Titan. Hopefully, I get who all the cards are from right. We'll see if I do. But Vaporeon 190 HP, quite high. Vaporeon is it's probably the most tanky evolution. It tends to like heal, I guess. So that's a little different. But Aqua Glide, your ability whenever you move one or more basic ordinary energy from other Pokemon onto this one, draw a card. And then it says, that's a weird ability. So that means you could use Energy Switch to draw cards, but then Breaching Jet says this attack deals 40 damage for each energy moved onto it from another Pokemon this turn. And you may shuffle each card attached to this Pokemon into your deck. I don't know if this is meant to pair with another card. This is a little weird. You can use Energy Switch and Expanded. There's, I think it's Quagsire. That's actually kind of insane. You can actually draw like an absurd amount of cards with that, but it does. So, sorry, I'm reading the attack again. It does 40 damage for each energy moved onto it from another Pokemon this turn. That's kind of weird. I don't know exactly how this is intended to be used. It's kind of cool. It's certainly something we haven't seen before, but I think that's kind of what custom cards are supposed to be like, with really unique effects. And this, is very interesting. Also, interestingly, we see the grass resistance, which is kind of cool. I don't know much about the video game. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of cool. And I don't know the exact reason for that. I think resistance is really cool. It's something that I wish we saw more of. But although grass is one of the two types to have resistances or to be resisted in the standard format, but solid card. It's a little weird. I'm not entirely sure what this is meant to synergize with. It might be meant to synergize with some other card that I don't have here, but it's still a cool concept. Next, we have Umbreon EX. This is a Terra EX, and this is from ILE, I believe, or IL. That could be wrong. The L's and I's look similar in Discord. Could even be a 1. But this is Umbreon EX, and it is a Terra. Of course, Umbreon normally Darkness, but it's a Psychic Terra here. And then we have Espeon, and these two switch types. I think the other ones also switch types. So we'll see that later, but the switch types are the ones that are from, like the related ones from the same generations. And so it's a Terra, not Stellar, but you got an ability here, Glistening Moon. If you have Espeon EX in play, and either Espeon EX or Umbreon EX are in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks cost 1 colorless more, and you cannot, Glistening Moon does not stack, so you can't apply more than one this ability per turn, or at one time. That's cool. We've seen this with Espathra EX. We saw it on, or we're going to see it on, I believe, Antique Root Fossil. That could be the wrong card, but something like that. The one that involves Lileep and Credilli. And it's something we've seen before, right? And that is a cool effect, though, in my opinion. One minor issue. Well, actually, no, I was going to say an issue, but it's not an issue. It's not like this is stacking the Spathra EX because you need one of these Pokemon in the active. The Lunar Wall, Darkness, Colorless, 160 for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It takes 30 damage less from attacks during your opponent's next turn. That's really interesting because it encourages your opponent to attach more energy cards, and then you're going to be taking less damage. Also, your HP is relatively low. And so, but it's still somewhat tanky. It's pretty interesting. I really like this card. Then we have Espeon EX here, which is Darkness, of course, Terra Darkness. And they do have the weakness. Wait, no, they're both weak to Darkness. I'm not entirely sure why that is. That could be a mistake as well, if these are made in order back to back. I feel like, oops, that's not the right tab. I don't know. That's a little weird. I mean, it could be preserving the original weakness or switching it. Generally, they are switched, but anyway, we have the ability Shaded Sun. The other one was called Glistening Moon, so that's pretty thematic. And if you have Umbreon EX in play, and either Umbreon EX or Espeon EX are in the active, your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks cost 1 more. Oh, wow. Okay, 1 colorless more. That seems really powerful. So it's the same ability. They don't stack, like, you can't stack Glistening Moons or Shaded Suns, but you can kind of work them together. That's really interesting. That seems really strong. But still kind of cool. I don't know if it's too strong. It seems annoying, but it seems cool. Then Solar Assault, Psychic Colorless, 160 for each energy attached to your opponent's active. Also, why does the 6 look weird? I'm not sure. Maybe they, whoever made this, I'll put it on top after. But for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and deal 20 damage to it. You can choose the same Pokemon twice, but you kind of like mix and match. Okay, so that's cool. That's just like really interesting, really solid. I don't know if that's too good. I definitely like both of these. They seem very solid, but pretty cool as well. And yeah, I mean, I like the designs of both of these. Increasing attack cost is annoying, but it's not usually something that decks can't overcome, especially when like these Pokemon, if your opponent's active doesn't really have any energy on them, they're pretty bad, and they're like not one-shotting stuff. So most decks can overcome this to some level. It's certainly really bad for certain decks, but most decks have some form of energy acceleration. So with one more turn, you can start attacking, and the HPs are low. I definitely think these cards are really cool. Oh, by the way, these are made on PokeCardMaker.net. I don't know if they all are. I think that's the right website. And if they are, then there was a recent change. It's not super recent, but it's relatively recent. And some of you may not know about it if you've used the website. Now you can edit your cards. So you save it. I'd recommend you upload the card. So I'd recommend you get an account, which is, I think you just need like Discord or an email or something. And then you have your account and then you upload the card. It just uploads. And then you can edit the card now, which was not a feature before, but now you can do that, which is super awesome. Next we have Glaceon, also Glaceon is misspelled, I believe. But EX here, 270 HP, pairing with Leafeon. You can see the background color is the color of like Glaceon or the type of Glaceon. And it says winter to spring. Once on your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, choose one of your Pokemon and heal 120 damage from it. This ability heals 30 less energy. Sorry, 30 less damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active. Oh, this is the opposite of the Espeon and Umbreon. Okay, that's cool. And then the attack here, Frigid Nature, 150 for 3 water, and you may discard any amount of energy from this Pokemon. For each energy you discard in this way, discard an energy from the defending Pokemon. Okay, that's really interesting. I think you should probably say energy card discarded. It gets a little weird. Like you could just discard like double turbos or something, and discard lots of energies. Maybe that's intended as well. I think that's how Pokemon would probably do it. But well, this is really cool, and I imagine Leafeon's similar. Oh no, this is okay. This is interesting. So, Cool Bloom for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. Search your deck for a basic energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. So, Glaceon and Leafeon actually aren't really related. They are type swapped, but they're not really related. We see energy typing being like a big selling point here, and that's really cool. This one, the Glaceon one's not a lot of energy on, which is really interesting. We see energy disruption. Espeon and Umbreon also are like the other way around. It's kind of energy disruption, but wants lots of energy. Then Leafeon kind of wants lots of energy, but it's not just that. Leaf Blizzard here for grass, 170. If the defending Pokemon has 5 more damage counters on it, it's now paralyzed. That's cool. That's kind of interesting. I feel like, water Pokemon or ice type Pokemon are generally associated with paralysis, but Leafeon is now a water or an ice type Pokemon, and now it's inflicting paralysis, which is pretty interesting. I definitely think paralysis is, I mean, it's almost definitely the best special condition. Poison's like really good, but it gets a lot of support. Paralysis gets not a lot of support, but when it ever gets like a little bit of support, it's really good. So this is cool. Obviously, oh, and then the idea is you attack with Cool Bloom. So I think the synergy here is really cool. It's very much different from the other ones. It's related, but let's take a look at the rest as well. We got Vaporeon, Flareon, and Jolteon. By the way, the Flareon looks kind of like not very good. The like red on the blue is kind of weird, but obviously just like filler images. But we got Vaporeon EX here. Also, I don't know. Last time we looked at these, they didn't all have attack names. I don't know if these do. Obviously, not all of them have images, but they all have actual stuff. Vaporeon EX 260 HP Power Current. For each of your Pokemon in play, search your deck for an energy card and attach it to that Pokemon. That's cool. That's something I could very much see. I don't even know if we have that in the game right now. We certainly have stuff similar to that. So on Stage 1, it's not that good, but it's fine. It's mediocre to underwhelming, but it's whatever. I could definitely see this being an actual attack. Thunderstorm, Water, Water, Lightning. No, sorry, Water, Water, Colorless. Again, this is sticking with the typing theme of the change type, which is cool. And it does 160. Discard any amount of lightning energy from this Pokemon. Future energy is discarded in this way. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and deal 100 damage to it. That's pretty interesting. This doesn't work with reversal. If you look at like expanded, where there's a counter energy, this would be pretty strong. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I think it's really strong, right? But it's also awkward to power up. I think like this would slot in super well into Chimp Excalibur in standard because they play lightning energy with Iron Hands EX. And 160 snipe, or sorry, 160 to the active, 100 snipes really good. 160 to the active, 100 snipe to 2 different bench Pokemon. Now that's like absolutely insane. That's definitely going to take a little bit of effort to power it up, or a bunch of effort to power it up, because you're really looking for lightning energy acceleration and water energy acceleration. One really interesting thing to note here is it is of course a lightning Pokemon, so you can accelerate it to using things that only accelerate to lightning Pokemon. The only one I can think of is going to be I don't know if Spark does, but I know Electric Generator only accelerates to lightning Pokemon, which you can do here. But also, obviously, Vaporeon normally a water Pokemon. Eevee is not a water Pokemon, though, and this is evolving from Eevee. However, it does... Oh, and I believe all the Pokemon say that they're just immune to bench damage as well. I just assumed that. I didn't really look. But but if you look at a Pokemon that's a water Pokemon, usually it evolves from a water Pokemon, so you could accelerate to the water basic, but you can't do that here. So if you say want to Palkia V-Star, you just can't do that. That's not an option at all. So that's interesting. You open up one door but close the other, which I think is good. It could be interesting to open up both doors, but that's not really doable here. And also might be too good. It probably doesn't change things too much, but that's just an interesting thing to note. You can electric generator, and you do a value out of that. I think Vaporeons are really cool. Thunderstorms are really strong, but also really awkward. So I don't know how good it would actually be. Next we got Flareon EX. This one's a water type, swapped with Vaporeon. The three are like switched. And then a boiling point during Pokemon checkup. If this Pokemon is in the active, put 3 damage counters on any water Pokemon in play except any Flareon EX. Okay, that's interesting. Then we have Heat Flow, discard all energy from this Pokemon. For each energy you discard in this way, deal 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, and deal 10 damage to this Pokemon. Okay, that's interesting. Um, that's pretty cool. I feel like it's a little awkward, especially this one. It's a fire energy. The main way to accelerate fire energies is with Magma Basin. That just doesn't work with this. I can't actually think. There's Candela. I've not played with Candela. Wait, yeah, Candela, Spark, and Vlog. I've never played with them. So I don't know what types they accelerate to. If they accelerate to every type, they're not very good. But so you have Magma Basin. You can't use that here, but it's pretty cool. I feel like this one's like pretty fair. Um, Obviously, it's very good against water Pokemon. It's really interesting. Flareon, normally fire type, weak to water, but the boiling, that's kind of cool. We've seen stuff like this, I think, before, and so I really like this synergy. I think this Flareon's really cool, and I like spread attackers as well. Spread are often water type, so again, leaning into that idea of spread attackers. Or sorry, not me. It is leaning into that idea, but it's leaning into the idea that the type change will be very meaningful here. And this is something I want to talk about. I think we'll see some later on, but I think these by Isle really, showed off the best. That's the Pokemon with the actual cards that we're going to get. Will probably, I don't know if they're going to type change, but the evolutions are really defined by their types, as I said earlier. And these are still defined by their types, but the interaction between types. Boiling point, it's water, it's fire, mixing the two together, which is really interesting. And I think this Flareon highlights it the best, although a lot of the other ones do as well. And like Glaceon doesn't necessarily do it so much, but like a lot of them do. Leafeon, this first attack's very like grass themed. The second one's very water themed. And Vaporeon obviously uses lightning energy and water energy, but Flareon I think is really cool, just very thematic. This is something I think a lot of people don't think about too much with Pokemon cards. It's like like, oh, it's a Pokemon. It generally does certain types of things, but I think the Flareon just really captured it very well. And next we got the Jolteon. This is, I believe, it's not the last one. The Sylveon, I don't remember what type that is. But Jolteon here, and this is, by the way, I like fire type and lightning type. So this card looks cool, but obviously no Pokemon. But Burning Shock, also 260 HP. Do they all have 260? No. They don't. Anyways, Burning Shock, 30 for 1 lightning. If this Pokemon moved from the bench to the active, this turn the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. That seems very solid. Okay, and then we have Nerve Melt for lightning. 1 lightning is 300, but if the defending Pokemon wasn't paralyzed during your opponent's last turn, this attack does nothing. This is kind of interesting. To me, the big problem is you can just loop paralysis, but that's not like that problematic. I feel like this Jolteon's cool. I would give it free retreat. That's something you sometimes see on Jolteon. And that was synergized. Maybe that's too strong. This card's cool. It's a little. The second attack's cool. I feel like it's. Like the fact you're gonna loop paralysis, like you need to be very careful with paralysis. So we saw Leafeon EX. This takes a lot of setup though to automatically paralyze, and it's also doing big damage. So it's gonna be two-siding stuff, anyways. Versus the Jolteon is just gonna be paralyzing over and over and over again. I feel like this Pokemon's okay. It's certainly cool, but I definitely think the other ones are probably cooler. I love the Flareon. The Jolteon, I mean, 2 attacks that chain together is always kind of cool. Also, it's kind of weird having to keep track of paralysis, because that's something that's not kept track of, but still a cool card. Next, we have Eevee EX. This is a card I saw. I just like glanced at. Apparently Eevee and Sylveon are type swap, which is fine. I mean, obviously, Eevee Gen 1, Sylveon the newest one in Gen 6, still a while ago, but I guess that's fine. I don't that like the other type swaps are all very logical because it's the same gen. So, um, yeah. So we got EVEX 140 HP, which is low, but I think it'll let's see. If any of your Pokemon EX that evolve from Eevee and Flareon knocked out by damage from your opponent's attacks, your opponent takes one less prize card. If you have any EX in your discard, you cannot put this Pokemon into play. Okay, so it can't stack one thing actually can stack if your opponent ability locks you and expanded, but whatever. That'd be really, and then you need to like unability lock you, but that's super like such a niche interaction. It wouldn't really be problematic anyway because they're just ability locking you, so they can just ability lock you again and just take the prizes. Sparkle Shot. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. This is fine. I feel like an EVEX should be able to evolve, and it can't. But we saw like EVV and VMAX do that, and that was like fine. This is fine. It's a kind of cool card. Charm Protection, feels more fairy type, which Sylveon is in the video game. Then we got Sylveon EX here, 270 HP. Also, EVEX, obviously very low HP. But Sylveon EX, your Ribbon Constrict, 30 from a colorless during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. Also, Terra colorless feels so bad because normally Terra is like, oh, I get to hit a different weakness, but not in this case. But during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. We've seen lots of attacks like that. Magical Return, Psychic, Colorless. Move all damage counters from this Pokemon to the defending Pokemon. If you move 10 or more damage counters in this way, draw 3 cards. I actually really like attacks like this that are like, move all damage counters from this Pokemon to the defending Pokemon. I think it might be a little more interesting if you swap the damage counters, but it's pretty similar. And then like if you moved a certain amount more, draw cards. I think that's cool. I feel like drawing 3 cards like isn't that like fun of an upside. Like Blizz EX draws cards with its attack and standard, and it's like fine. It's good, but it's kind of whatever. But I think the Sylveon EX is fine and kind of cool, and EVX as well. But let's move on to some more cards. These are from Nerfgun Pokemon card. I think we got a few. We got 4. Yeah, we got 4. So oh, I don't know if these are from the right people. So anyway, I'm gonna check to see if this is who it actually is from. But we got Eevee here, one colorless, shelfless Pokemon, all cards attached to it into your deck. Pretty straightforward, but it's fine. I think free attacks are always cool. We don't see a ton of them, so cool cards. Cool like attack. Pretty boring, but that's fine. It's still cool. Then we got Jolteon here, quick attack, 50 for 2 colorless. And Pin Missile, flip for coins. It does 80 damage for each head. Pretty straightforward. I could definitely see Pokemon making cards like this. It's pretty. I don't think it's that interesting, especially with like coin flips, but it's not bad. And yeah, I mean, coin flips. This is an attack we've like literally just seen in a Jolteon. Weaker than this, I think, but something pretty much just like this. Yeah. So then next we have this Umbreon, and this one is now an EX, and it's got let's see. Oh no, these are by Whispersky. Did I miss the card by Nerf Gun Pokemon card? I might have. I'm really sorry if I like said your card and I said the wrong one. Oh no, the Glaceon EX. That one's later, I think. I don't know. I'll pull that one up later. Yeah. So apparently I missed a card. So did I close it? Nope, I just missed it. I'll get to that later. So these are from Whispersky. We're going to see some more cards by Whispersky later in another video, but these are really interesting. Some of the other ones, but then we have, so yeah, these 4, the Eevee, the Jolteon, the Umbreon EX, and Espeon EX are all by Whispersky. And so this Umbreon EX says, Moon Command, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon when they're active. We saw this on Umbreon VMAX. I think we've seen this on an Umbreon EX before. It's cool. I think it's cool. So a Dark Slash, then Darkness, 180, just a solid attack. I think this Pokemon is really solid. Nothing too fancy, but I could definitely see a Pokemon like this coming into the TCG. It's very similar to the Umbreon VMAX that we saw from Evolving Skies, which, by the way, Evolving Skies had all the evolutions as VMAXs. That's the most recent time we saw them all in the same set, I believe. So then they didn't have a lot of synergy. Some kind of had synergy, but most didn't really have any synergy at all. It was a really weird set, really strong set. But yeah, Umbreon EX, really cool, pretty straightforward. Psychic resistance, a new resistance. I like that. Then we got Espeon EX. This one is ability Magical Search. On play, you can search your deck for an item and support it, reveal and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Wow, that's really strong. But it is an EX, and right now Stage 1 EXs are kind of terrible, to be honest. There are some that are okay, um, but most aren't. Most are pretty bad. But I think this is really cool, really powerful. But it's on play. Is it too good? Probably not, because you have Lumineon V to search for a supporter. Then it's an item, which is nice. I mean, it's a very good ability, but also it's at stage 1. I feel like I'd lower the HP to make it more of like a gust target. But then we got Psychic for, 2 Psychic, which, by the way, I think the attack name, which is, we see this all the time, the Pokemon TCG, being called Psychic is kind of weird and confusing because why are you naming an attack that's like the same as the energy? But anyway, so for 2 Psychic, it does 60 more for each energy attached to your points active. This is fine. It's good. I feel like the ability is really good, and then it's a really cool support ability. But then, of course, you have the issue of like what attack do you give it? Sometimes you see hit and run attacks going back to the hand, um, but not always. Not on the evolutions as commonly. But I think this ability is really awesome and something I'd really love to see in the game. Yeah, I mean, I miss Drizzile. Drizzile was really cool. There's Pelipper, but that's no Drizzile. Next we got Flareon. Flareon. This one's I think spelled as well. This one is by I don't who is this by? This is by King Chance, I believe. And so this card is pretty cool. I think I haven't actually looked at it yet. Hopefully it's cool. Blazing Sparks here. Again, leaning into the idea of, and then we see Shocking Flames as well. The idea that they're kind of merging the types together. And okay, so I don't think the types are switched. Not really. I mean, they're changed, but they're not just directly switched. But so I don't know what we'll see, but I think in the actual cards, but this idea switching it to lightning and fire, like merging the two together is really fun. Blazing Sparks, once during your turn, you may discard an energy from this Pokemon to flip a coin. If heads, both active Pokemon are paralyzed. If tails, both are, I assume now burned is what it's supposed to say, not burned, because normally they're not burned. Yeah, so Shocking Flames is 110 for fire colorless. Attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon for each special condition. Attack affecting your opponent's active Pokemon. This is cool. I think the other Flareon EX, one of them we saw also was a spread attack. So this is a different type. Lightning now. Lightning also has spread. Water is, I think, more associated with it, but lightning certainly is associated with some. And so I think the attack's cool. The coin flip thing is kind of weird, but kind of cool as well. If you're paralyzed, you just switch. So some pretty interesting things going on here. I think spread attackers are really cool as well. I said that before. This one's not this one is a bunch of energy. The energy's kind of awkward to get on. You can't use Magma Basin, but you could use Magma Basin Arm Rouge. There's some different things. There's also Mela as well. So I like this Flareon a lot. Next we got Jolteon. This one's pretty similar to, or it's kind of similar. It's another single prize Jolteon. And this is by King Chance again, I believe. And it has an attack that says quick draw, flip a coin if heads, draw 4, if tails, draw 2, and it says 30. Pretty generic, definitely could see it. We see Free Retreat as well on Jolteon, and moderately high HP of 150 as well. Then we got Lightning Blast, which says for 3 lightnings, discard basic energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed. It does 100. I feel like you'd want to discard more energies to balance it out, but maybe not. I mean, it's pretty fair as well. It depends how many Switch people play, but a really solid attack. I think it's a very strong, but also Lightning's like kind of mediocre right now. So in standard, I think Lightning Blast. I think these two cards are pretty cool, or both two attacks are pretty cool. Quick draw, drawing cards. Again, it's not super interesting, but I feel like it's just a single prize and more. Single prizes aren't held to the same like standard as multi-prizes. Boring multi-prizes, just really boring. Not that the other drawing one was boring. It was kind of interesting, but it had a lot more going on. But then this one, I think is actually pretty interesting. Attacks that draw cards and single prizes see play. You look at stuff like Cleffa. I don't know, mostly Cleffa, but like Rotom V is very different. It's a multi-prizer, but you sit behind a single prize, then you draw cards. So, yeah, Jolteon though, I think that for stacks pretty interesting. In like drawing 4 versus drawing 2, both have value. Drawing 2 is obviously worse than drawing 4, but it's okay. And drawing 4 is really solid. And then Lightning Blast here is a really strong attack as well. I think Jolteon is a pretty cool Pokemon. Next, we got Leafeon EX, and this one, I think we have two different versions of it. We see some slight number tweaks. I think, yeah, these are just buffs once during a turn. So we got HP here, damage here, but Leaf Blade, and this is a stellar Pokemon as well. I think this is the first and potentially only stellar Pokemon that we're going to take a look at that's fan made. By the way, these are all on the Discord server. You can join that. You can take a look. There's a lot of other cards that are really cool there, and you can make your own cards as well. But Leafeon EX, Leaf's Absorption. Once during a turn, you may discard 4 basic grass energies from this. Oh, from your hand to heal all damage from your active. I saw this card before. This ability is super cool. It's obviously a decent price to pay. Maybe a superior energy retrieval, but maybe just discarding 4 grass energies. There are different ways to kind of fulfill this. You can use like Hisuian Lilligant V-Star or whatever, but overall, I feel like it's really powerful, right? Healing all the damage from your active, but I think it's really fair as well. Generally, there might be some broken combo, but generally it seems really cool. Then the Leaf Blade ability during your opponent's next turn. They cannot play any items or supporters from their hand. This is pretty insane. And it got buffed with this other one. I feel like this Pokemon's really strong. I feel like 230 is fair and 70 damage. But yeah, this that attack's really strong, stopping supporters and items. Those are really all the trainers. There are tools, and notably Force Seal Stone is a really solid slash strong tool. It's insane. One turn, it gets you any one card you want. There are technical machines. There are, of course, abilities that you can use. There are stadiums that are good as well. Art Zone, most notably, and Pokestop. But Pokestop's pretty terrible with this because then you can't play your items. So, yeah, most stadiums, tools, and abilities and special engines and stuff, though, aren't super strong. They're not really to the level of items or supporters. Certainly not supporters. So, that's really powerful. It is awkward. I feel like this first one is balanced. So we saw Crobat with its attack that let you choose to item lock or supporter lock. That card's so bad though. So this might be a better take on that card because that card was pretty trash because it's just not really anywhere near good enough. So I think this Leafeon's kind of cool. Or actually really cool. I think both things are really good. It might be like kind of broken, but it's cool. Next we got Umbreon EX, and this one I believe is again by King Chance. And let's see. So Soul Darkness for 2 darkness during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks, and that's fine. We see attacks like this. I think this is cool. I feel like Umbreon is the tanky Pokemon. Isn't something I think of. I think I said, yeah, probably Leafeon would be the tanky one, but none of them are that tanky. So, yeah, so 50, solid attack, and then Alone in the Day here, you may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. If you do, this does 1/3 or more damage. Okay, that's kind of cool. Really solid attack, hit and run as well. So 2 defensive attacks, and I feel like that second attack fits with Umbreon a lot more. Admittedly, they're both defensive attacks, which, as I said, the Eeveelutions aren't that defensive. Vaporeon heals. Leafeon might reduce damage, but certainly not by that much. So I think, and Leafeon could also heal. But Umbreon is, I feel like it's cool as this kind of sneaky Pokemon, right? And so I like both these attacks, both defensive and not too complicated as well. And then we got Glaceon. I believe this Glaceon is also by King Chance, and it has its ability here. Also, it's Terra Metal. I don't think we've seen any Metal Pokemon so far, so this is really cool. There is no Metal Eeveelution. Glaceon only Metal weak. So is Sylveon, but there's 8 types of basic energy. There's 8 evolutions, but there's 2 water evolutions, with Glaceon being one of them, and 2 psychic evolutions, Sylveon being one of them. In the TCG, the video game types are different, and there used to be a fairy type, but we don't talk about that anymore. But Glaceon, strong ice with its ability here. Once during your turn, you may discard a basic metal energy from this Pokemon. If you do, you may attach up to 2 basic water energies from your discard pile to this Pokemon. That's really interesting. Again, blending the 2 types in a weird way here, but that's pretty cool. Then Smashing Shards for 3 waters, 150. You may discard up to 6 water energies from this Pokemon. For each basic water energy discarded, put 1 damage counter on each opponent's bench Pokemon. Okay, this is really interesting. I feel like the ability is cool. However, I feel like you just accelerate the water energies with Excalibur, but this is pretty cool. I'm trying to think. So 6 damage counters on their bench is a is a lot, right? But also it's 6 energies. I feel like it's good to have that restriction. That makes a lot of sense for balancing purposes. I feel like, Metal doesn't have very good energy acceleration, even Metang, but that's like kind of sketchy, especially in a deck where you're playing twice as many water energies as Metal energies. But this is really cool. I think the ability idea is really good. I feel like just in standard, it's kind of bad because Metal has kind of bad acceleration, while Water has good acceleration. But still, I really love this. I love Metal. I don't love Metal Pokemon because they're really boring. But I wish they had better cards. They're not that bad. I don't like Dialga. I don't like to play against Dialga, but it's a cool card. Metang's a cool card. We just don't see a lot of Metal Pokemon. Cool Dingo, cool Jirachi, cool. But um, yeah, I think this card's really cool. I think the abilities interesting. I don't know if this is quite the right Pokemon to put it on. I could almost be the other way. I mean, then I can't use Metal Energies, right? But it's still really cool. Then we have Vaporeon EX. Also, this like this art's kind of weird. I don't even. This is weird. But polluted stream. If your active Pokemon has a water energy attached to it, then and it's damaged by attack from the attacking Pokemon or your opponent's attacking Pokemon, I guess. The attack Pokemon is now poisoned, and then sorry, I'm reading it. During Pokemon checkup, put 2 damage counters on that instead of 1. Does this damage your own Pokemon self-damage? Oh, sorry, this is a Vaporeon swimming in a stream. I thought this whole thing was a Vaporeon. Okay, it's not that weird. I was just like really confused by what I'm looking at. So yeah, Vaporeon is like in I think a stream, but so that's cool. Like this. It's not really defensive, but it's like a counter-attacking ability. Pretty cool. An Evil River for 2 water, 120. If your point's active is poisoned, put 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. And during Pokemon checkup, oh yeah, sorry, extra poison. And these like kind of stack as well. And then this effect stays until that Pokemon is like cured of poison. So yeah, I think poison. This is really interesting. Terra Darkness, like again, mixing the two types together. The Glaceon kind of did. I mean, it certainly had the 2 energy types, but I think this Vaporeon, poison Pokemon. I'd probably make it weak to fighting because then it would be like a poison Pokemon. Poison Pokemon from the video game are darkness in the TCG, but they are weak to fighting versus dark Pokemon in the video game are darkness Pokemon in the TCG. The types are so confusing. But then they are weak to grass in the TCG. So yeah, but I think this is really fun with poison. It's kind of weird. It's not that weird though. It's cool. It's cool. Then we have Sylveon. This is from who's this from? This is from Popman, and this card is another stellar. Okay, 300 HP as well, pretty high. And Fairy Luck. Your opponent cannot take out of their discard pile. Wait, what is this? I think it's cards out of their discard pile with the effect of trainers. This seems like is this the same as that's pretty similar to I don't remember the card. I think it's kind of like Toad Scroll from something. So it's a pretty cool card. An ability. I'm not exactly sure. It's like the wording is not very unclear, but the Magical Mischief for Grass, Lightning, Psychic, 40. Discard a card from the top of your opponent's deck for each Pokemon type of Pokemon you haven't played. That's pretty interesting. It seems a little weak, but you have the high HP, the tankiness, then the damage output. I feel like the damage isn't necessary, but I guess it doesn't like hurt it either, really. So, and in some ways, actually no, it kind of hurts it if you're trying to boss trap something. So maybe it's like a nerf the damage. The high retreat. I actually don't know what Sylveon's retreat is because I don't really play Sylveon cards. I feel like it might have lower normally, but I don't really know to be honest. But yeah, this is cool. I feel like it's like a little weak, but that's not that bad. I could definitely see a card like this seeing play. I'm gonna turn off my screen for a second. I actually accidentally stopped recording it instead of turning off my screen. I am gonna pull up the one last Eeveelution here from Nerf from Pokemon card, and that is here. It's pretty cool. I think. If I can find it, surely it's gotta be right here, right? Yep, so we got ourselves a Glaceon EX. So let me not press the end recording button. So Glaceon EX here from Nerf from Pokemon card. Glacial Help. When during your turn, you may search. I think that's a type. I think it's supposed to be search your deck for 2 in combination of Pokemon weak to metal and water energy. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck. That's interesting. Being like searching for Pokemon with certain weaknesses. That's something we don't see. I can't think of it really anything that close. There was, I think, a P-Dove that searched for Pokemon with fighting resistance that you could play to search for the lower left corner of Mewtwo Reunion or something, but like anyway, so you search these Pokemon, and then Frozen Punch for 4 water, it does, or 4 energy, 3 or water, 190. And if your opponent doesn't have fire Pokemon in play, it does 140 more. I feel like that's fine. Thematically, I feel like it's a little weird being like targeting a specific type that you're already like probably one-shotting, you're already probably hitting for weakness. But I guess this is good against Charizard EX. So it'll be also that's like so much damage. That's 330. No, yeah, that's 330. So 330 is like, I guess this is a counter to Charizard EX, so that's cool. Kind of niche, but that's still cool. But I just wanted to showcase these cards. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider liking and subscribing, hitting the bell, joining the Discord server to submit your own cards and check them out. I'll probably be doing some voting. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.